When God gives the vision, he makes the provision. What does this mean for you as a non-profit founder? As people who believe in God, right? We know God is all powerful. We know God is almighty. And the truth is, the moment he laid the very vision to your heart, he made the provision available. So what this means is the provision is available, but that doesn't take away the fact that you're going to have to do the work. It's just like saying the moment you have a plan to build a house, the resources are already available, but you have to do the work to bring the resources together. You have to do the work to, go out there, find those resources so that you can use it to create the very impact you've been called to. I'm saying this because in community development, we have one belief. It is the belief that every community, every group have the resources it needs to create the change that's necessary for that community. So I've seen most founders who have the idea that the community they serve is not wealthy, the community they serve do not have enough resources, and that's why they're struggling. But the truth is, every community have the resources you need to successfully create that impact. You only need to find it. So it is with God's provision as well. The moment he gave you that vision, the moment he gave you that idea, the resources are already available. You only need to go out there to find these resources and bring them in. So let me use the example of a community. Every community have the resources it needs to successfully, create change. What does that mean? If you look into your community, strategically, you're going to find assets. You're going to find opportunities within these communities that can help you create impact, that can help you create change. But you have to find them strategically. So let me give you an example of some of the resources within communities that can help you create change. For example, the financial institutions across your community, from the banks to the microfinance to the different money organizations across your community. These are financial assets you can tap into. So any brand or any bank or any financial institution benefiting from that community, whether by it having a presence in the community or just being part of that community or making money from that community, is a financial asset to that community. Aside the financial asset, the social capital of that community, the ability for people to come together, to bond together, to create change, is also a huge asset. Now, aside the social capital, there are also other sort of assets within the community. The history of the community is also a huge asset. The cultural, the cultural identification of that community is also a huge asset. You need to learn how to tap into these assets. You need to first of all learn how to identify them and then how to tap into these assets for the benefit of the community. Now, wealthy people within this community are also assets. The ability for you to bring these people together to create change is a huge asset that many communities do not have. So you find that if you're able to look strategically into any community, you did find resources, you did find assets within this community that can help you bring resources together to create change for that community. But the very problem most times is that our founders are, should I use the word lazy? They think money is just supposed to drop on their laps just because they do good work. They think they're just supposed to get resources because they are out there creating impact. The truth is, non-profits have what we call goodwill. This is good because people usually tend to see non-profits as a force for good, so they tend to want to give to non-profits. But that's not enough. If you base your fundraising on goodwill, that's going to be a very big blow to you, because in time you did find out that goodwill will not sustainably fund your non-profit. This is why you must take charge of your fundraising. It's just like a business that's starting out trying to build out its sales engine. Think about it. No business is going to start out and just hope that customers are going to come to us just because we're a business. Even to the most innovative businesses, even to Facebook, to LinkedIn, to all the innovative platforms you see out there, Amazon, they still run adverts. They have sales processes that go on day in, day out, so that they can raise money for their organization, so that they can bring in money through sales. That is how it is also for non-profits. You need to build your fundraising engine. You need to build your fundraising processes, so that day in, day out, you are actually trying to raise money. Day in, day out, you're inviting people in to support your cause. Day in, day out, you're building the social capital that's necessary for you to raise money. This is where many non-profit founders get it wrong. But you watching this today, you can choose to get it right. All you have to do is simply step out of your comfort zone. First, run a research. I would always say, before you look outwards, look inwards. Research, what resources do we have inwards in terms of the people within my organization, my personal network, the fundraising strategies I've been executing, what has been working, what hasn't worked. We call this the fundraising audit. It's all about looking inwards, because one of the reasons why most nonprofit founders lack is that they tend to look outward, right? It's just like saying, you want to prepare food. Say, for example, you're hungry in your home and you want to prepare food. Instead of you going to look at what do I have first of all, maybe you could find something that could even help you prepare a whole dish. But because of we carry this lack mentality, we tend to want to look outwards first. And then at the end of the day, when you go out there to go find resources, you did end up seeing that you even have some of these things indoors that you didn't even take note of. So fundraising audit is you first of all looking inwards, auditing the resources you have, so that you can comfortably say, this is what we have, this is what we can make use of. You having that understanding first is going to put you in a very good position. Because think about it this way: you going out there to raise money and you're telling them, we've already raised $1,000, we already raised $1,000,000. That's going to propel people out there to give to you. But when you've not harnessed what you have within, you're trying to reach out to people outwards for them to support you, you're going to create resistance. That's why it's very important you take note of what you have inwards, and you take that to your advantage. Harness that low-hanging fruit. Take charge of that opportunity before you begin to look outwards. Now that you've done the fundraising audit and looked inwards, let's talk about looking outward. Looking outward is basically looking at the opportunities out there. Finding people who care about your mission, finding assets and resources across your community, the community you serve. Running a research to make sure you're identifying opportunities for your organization and people who can support you. That's what market study is all about. Looking out there, studying your environment, studying the community you intend to serve, studying your state to find opportunities that align with your nonprofit. Once you've done that, the next step is to then create a plan that helps you harness both the opportunities within and the opportunities without. Say, for example, you did a fundraising audit and you were able to map out, say, 50 personal relationships from yourself and from your board members. And then you did an outward search, you were able to find, I think, maybe 5,000 people who align with your vision across your community, people who are, who are passionate about the same cause. Your fundraising strategy, of course, would then be how to harness these 50 people you have inwards to raise money from them, including how to also harness, the people you have outward, which is the 5,000 people, to also raise money from them. So you see, building a fundraising strategy isn't just about thinking about vague ideas. It's basically you trying to build a strategy that helps you harness the opportunities you've seen. And this is where most founders get it wrong. They think building a fundraising strategy is all about going out there, asking for donations, running events and all that. These tactics are good, but they are only, very strategic and will help you create results when it is aligned towards harnessing the opportunities you've identified. So that's what building a fundraising strategy is all about, harnessing the opportunities both within and without. Now, once you've done building your fundraising strategy, you need to develop the tools and the resources needed to execute that strategy. If you're looking at engaging corporate funders, what tools and resources do you need? You may need a proposal, you may need a case for support, you may need your business plan. These tools, you have to create them. Also, you may need people to execute your plan. You may need appointment setters, you may need marketers, you may need researchers. You have to go find these people and bring them in. Now, someone might be saying, but I don't have the money to recruit these people. Well, that's the good thing about running a nonprofit. You don't have to recruit, you don't have to always pay. There are people out there who have the skills, who have the experience, who want to help as many nonprofits as possible. They want to gain credibility. They want to show that they can do this work. All you have to do is find them. And there are lots of volunteer platforms out there that could help you find these people. There's Volunteer Match, there's Catch a Fire, even on LinkedIn, you can find good people who would help you. Once you're able to bring these people together and then develop the tools you need to execute, the next step is to go on to go execute. Now, when it comes to executing, many think it's just all about going out there, asking for money, sending out emails, throwing out whatever marketing materials you have out there, hoping that you can raise money. But that's not the case. It doesn't work that way. If you want to raise money, you're going to have to do it the right way. And the right way is building relationships. Money comes through relationships. Even in the business world, it is through relationships. In the nonprofit world, it is through relationships. And not just any relationship, but relationship you've invested in, relationships you've serviced, relationships you've shown that you care about, their ideas, you care about, how they feel. These are the people who would give to you. That's why when we talk about execution, it's really in three phases. First, it is in building or initiating that relationship. The next step is in nurturing that relationship. And then before you can solicit from that relationship. It's in the marketing world, we call it building the know, like, and trust factor. First, they need to know you. Next, they need to like you. Then they need to trust you before they buy from you. So also it is with the non-profit world and when it comes to fundraising. First, they need to know you. Next, they need to like you. Next, they need to trust your organization before they fund you. But what most founders are doing is just all about sending out emails, sending out outreaches, sending out, fundraising appeals, thinking this is how it works. That's why they get 5%, sometimes even 1%, result, or even 0% result, because people don't work that way. Imagine you're reaching out to me for the first time and you're asking me for money. I'm going to be looking at you like, are you really serious? But if you are serious, if you're strategic and you really want to create results, you go for relationship. So how do you initiate relationship? You initiate relationship by asking for the ideas. You initiate relationship by providing them information that they've never heard of before. By, wowing them, showing them that you know what you're talking about. You initiate relationship by introducing yourself. You don't initiate relationship by asking for money. So if there's one thing you should take away from this, live session today is never go in asking for money. First, go in to initiate a relationship. Next, you nurture those relationships. How do you nurture those relationships? You nurture those relationships by inviting them in for events. You nurture these relationships by, providing them more information about your organization. You nurture these relationships by letting them know that the ideas they shared with you, you have included them into your organization. You nurture this relationship by inviting them to your programs, by inviting them to your office, by inviting them to be a part of what you're doing. That's how you nurture relationship. It's just like your everyday in a relationship. For example, you meet a girl for the first time. You're most likely going to want to say hi by introducing yourself, by trying to let them know you're a person of value. And then next, you're going to want to invite her for a date. You guys go out, eat somewhere nice, chill out, talk more about yourself. That's really how it's done with fundraising. You're going to have to build that relationship organically. You're going to have to show that you care about them, you care about their ideas. That's the only way they can open up to you. Then you cannot get to the point where you ask. And if you've really done your job properly, you've really built the relationship, nurtured that relationship, when it comes to the point of asking, it becomes a lot easier, because at that point everything flows naturally. So let's say, for example, we started by asking for their ideas, and next we let them know we've implemented their ideas. Asking for money would be very straightforward. These ideas you provided us, we've been able to implement it, but these are the roadblock we're experiencing, and we think with your support we can be able to overcome these obstacles. Would love you to support us. This is the point where we are. It's very natural to solicit at that point once you have a relationship. This is how you raise money. And of course, it doesn't end here. If you're able to raise money from them, you need to steward these donors. You need to show them that it's not just a transactional relationship. You value them and you want to keep building that relationship. And that's where donor stewardship come in. But even if they did not give to you, you have to still follow up, because you still want to show them it's not just about the money. Say, for example, I didn't give to you and then you're just off. Then it shows you were all around for the money in the first place. But if you're able to follow up, let them know this is where we are, this is what we've been able to do. We know you couldn't give the last time, but we value you. We still want to hear from you. We still want you to be a part of this mission. Somewhere down the line, I'm going to give, because I'm going to realize that these guys are for real and they really care about this vision and they care about myself. So follow up and stewardship is a very important part of this journey. It doesn't end with the donation. You must follow up with your donors. You must follow up with the people, those who didn't give as well, if you want to ensure success of your organization, if you want to ensure sustainability of your fundraising. Then lastly, there's what we call the culture of philanthropy. You need to build that culture within your organization. It's just like the way these companies build a sales process that is standard, that creates results. That's what building the culture of philanthropy is all about. Because you don't want to do a one-time fundraising. It's not going to run you for long. If you want to run your organization sustainably for a long time, you're going to need to run a fundraising that's sustainable. That you need your fundraising process to keep running, just like the way you see Amazon adverts everywhere, Facebook, LinkedIn, they're all advertising until this day. That's how you need to build a culture of philanthropy, a culture of fundraising within your organization that ensures that your fundraising continues to run. Because without this, you're most likely going to struggle in no time. Your results will be wiped out in no time. But when you consistently ensure that this result is out there, it's being created, when you ensure that your fundraising is out there consistently, then you're more likely to create results. And when I say consistently, you're replicating this process over and over again. For the new donors who prospects who are coming in, you're building relationship, you're nurturing the relationship, you're making the ask. For those who are already in, you have a system that's nurturing them, stewarding them so that they can continue to give. This process has to keep running to ensure the sustainability of your organization. It is very important for your success. So this is really how you raise money. Like I said, if God gives the vision, he will make the provision. But again, That does not leave the work to God. It leaves the work to you. You have to go out there to go find the resources that God has already provided. You don't sit on your vision, you don't sit on your mission. You go out there to show that indeed this work is worth every bit of it. And that's when it will reward you. Happy to share with you today. Keep following, keep joining us. We want to see you grow. We want to see your organization successful, and we want to see you keep creating impact. Do not stop following us because there is so much more you can learn to help you become a better fundraiser, to help you become a better founder for your organization. So until next time, it is going to be bye for today.